charts, I would like to say I'm actually a really big fan of Desiigner. I've seen him live and he was actually one of the best live performers I've seen. But as you guys know, talent doesn't make you not a one-hit wonder. So let's actually get into the topic and find out, is Desiigner a one-hit wonder? So when Desiigner came out, he set the bar really high with his first single Panda, and Panda actually went all the way to #1, which is very rare for someone's first single to do that. Desiigner actually got the beat off a YouTube video, and the story is history from there. Obviously trying to capitalize on this hype, he tried to release an album, and I'm guessing his label kind of influenced him in on this, and what was produced wasn't really that good. It was really a half-baked album, and a lot of people didn't really receive it that well. A lot of people, myself included, thought it was really rushed, and a lot of the tracks seemed really half-finished, and it was disappointing, especially all the hype Desiigner had coming into this project. Despite the project not being that good, Make It Out is still a banger. If you have not heard Make It Out, go check it out. It is a great song by Desiigner. It's on the project, and honestly one of the only good songs on the project in my opinion. Nothing Off the Tape really took off in the same way that Panda did, and it really just kind of fell into mediocrity, and you really don't hear people talking about that project when they talk about Desiigner. When you hear Desiigner, all you hear about is Panda and maybe something like Timmy Turner. So it's been a while since Panda came out, and Desiigner hasn't had a hit on that same level and hasn't really had a great hit at all, and that's starting to become a problem for him now. At first it could be just chalked up to, you know, give him some time, give him some time, give him some time, but with more time it still seems like Desiigner has yet to produce a hit despite trying. Timmy Turner did alright, and when the original acoustic version was put out over the XXL freestyle, there was a lot of initial hype for this song, and he eventually ended up turning it into a real song. Produced by Mike Dean, one of the best producers in the game. Unfortunately though, the track just felt really overproduced, and a lot of people had a problem with it, and it just wasn't received nearly as well as the acoustic version, and Desiigner was slowly starting to fall into obscurity because he still couldn't find a hit. In my opinion, Outlet was Designer's best chance at a good single, and Outlet absolutely slaps. It's an amazing song. Honestly, I don't understand how it didn't take off and how it's not more popular. It might have something to do with his label, it might have something to do with people not fucking with Desiigner, I don't know, but Outlet absolutely slaps, and it doesn't make any sense that this song wasn't pushed harder, and it doesn't make any sense that this song isn't bigger than it was. But unfortunately for Desiigner, we live in the real world, and shoulda, coulda, woulda. The one good thing that Desiigner does have going for him though is it seems like his label still believes in him. Desiigner is going around in mansions, he's recording in LA, he's been working hard, and his label seems to be supporting that and giving him all this studio time and giving him all these opportunities to make songs and make hits, which is a good sign for him, and hopefully that means good stuff for his future. What I think really hurts Desiigner, and the reason I think his music doesn't take off in the same way that we see a lot of other artists, is just his personality. And if you know anything about Desiigner, he's always yelling, he's going like he's having a fucking seizure. The dude is just really over dramatic, he's a little bit overhyped, and I think a lot of people see that and they think that he just comes across as fake, and if you don't want to be something in hip-hop, that is fake. Also, when Desiigner first came out, he was seen as a carbon copy of Future, which didn't really help the case at all because he couldn't really establish himself just separated from Future. When a lot of people heard Panda originally, myself included, I thought it was a Future song, and that is not good. Desiigner couldn't really separate himself from Future all that well, and to this day he still gets comparisons to being Future, and Future has even sent some subliminal shots at Desiigner because it's just that obvious that they sound so similar. Like I was saying though, all this over-the-top positivity and stuff that he does, it just comes across to a lot of people as fake, and that's why a lot of people can't get into Desiigner. I've said this in multiple videos, and it's the fact that rappers' personalities are just as important as the music they make, and in the case of Desiigner, he's making dope music, but his personality just doesn't seem all that likable. If anything, it seems kind of annoying.
In the building, baby.
I know there's a deeper meaning, and someone made a video about why Desiigner acts overly happy, and it has something to do with him being depressed and wanted to commit suicide previously in his life. And while that's really unfortunate, he seems to go way too over the top with it. I find it kind of funny, and it's really good for live shows when he brings that kind of energy, and that's why he's such a good live performer. But to always act like this in every single interview, to always be super excited and happy, it just comes across as fake, because no one in real life is that happy, that excited, going get all the time. Like, it just does not happen. So now we gotta get to the question, can Desiigner make another hit? That's why you click the video to find out, is Desiigner a one-hit wonder? So let's try to answer that real quick. So in the music industry, you're only as good as your last hit song, and in this case, Designer's last hit song was Panda, which came out a pretty long time ago now, if we're being fair, and the clock is spinning and spinning and spinning, and Desiigner has to produce something soon, otherwise his label might lose faith in him, and his fan base might start lose faith in him as well, which could be the end of his career or the end of his relevancy here in the hip-hop game, which a lot of people could say his relevancy has been going down and down and down over these past few months. Desiigner still has his label support for now, but as we've seen with a lot of labels, if you're not producing hit songs, then they're not really going to be fucking with you. At the end of the day, labels are there to make money, and if Desiigner can't release a hit song within probably the next year or so, then they're going to be getting him the fuck up out of there. It's just how it is. It's just what's going to happen. Desiigner, you need to make a hit song, and you need to do it soon. He has yet to put out a full project, and I think that's the main problem with Desiigner. We got that half-baked project that wasn't really that good, and it wasn't really received well by many people, and he hasn't put out his album yet, like a full studio album. And it's crazy to think that, because he had all the hype in the world going for him when he released that half-baked project, and it seems like there's just some time that has gone on, and it still seems like Desiigner hasn't put out an actual full body of work. And until he puts out a full body of work, I don't think we're going to be able to fully judge just how good Desiigner is. The problem he could run into, though, is when he finally does release this project, no one cares about Desiigner, and despite how good the music is, if the hype's not there, as we've seen with the song Outlet, it's just not gonna work, which is really unfortunate for him, because I do believe Desiigner can make really good music, and I believe he does make some pretty solid songs. Desiigner's a talented dude. I'm always going to be checking for his music. I am a Desiigner fan, but I feel like the general hip-hop fan and the general people who pretty much make up the sales of hip-hop and make up who is relevant and who's not, if he doesn't release a hit soon, these people aren't going to be checking for him, and he could definitely become a one-hit wonder. I don't see Desiigner ever reaching the heights of Panda again. I don't ever see him being as hype as he was when Panda came out, but I do think Desiigner can definitely make some hits. I think he needs to be on more features, and I think that's a problem that he's really run into. When's the last time you've heard Desiigner on a relevant feature? It just seems like he hasn't really been putting out a steady flow of music, and if he can get on some hot features, that could bring some hype back up for when he finally does release his album. I hope his label knows what they're doing, and I hope they can actually have a solid plan in place so when his album does come out, it actually does fairly well. So in short, is Desiigner a one-hit wonder? As of this video, yes, Desiigner is a one-hit wonder. This man hasn't put out a song that has even come close to the success of Panda, and realistically speaking, he hasn't really been all that active recently. It seems like he's been quieting down, and honestly, I'm really excited to see a full project from Desiigner, and hopefully when he releases that, he can come back, get some more relevancy, and hopefully drop another hit song. But let me know what you guys thought of this down in the comments down below. Do you think Desiigner is a one-hit wonder? Why or why not? Let me know down in the comments down below. If you like this video, be sure to put a like on it. If you dislike the video, be sure to hit that dislike button. And if you're new, how about you subscribe? But yeah, guys, this has been Throwaway, and as always, peace out.
Bitch, don't send no DMs. I said when I count checks, bitch, don't send me no